Chapter 17. Jake walked around a bit behind the finish line to get his wind back. He wasn't tired at all. He felt light, excited. He made his way over to the big tree they had made home base. He did some stretches and a quick little happy dance and reached into the tent for his jacket and some water. He heard his name and saw someone jogging toward him. Simon. Jake! That was awesome! Simon, what are you doing here? Watching the race? Yeah, but... Jake reddened a little. He hadn't told Simon about the race today. He hadn't even told him about running with the Diamond Club. I read about it in the paper. I saw your name. I wanted to go, and my mom said she wouldn't mind shopping in Deep Rapids for an afternoon. She'll pick me up later. You wanted to come all the way out here for a race you're not even in? Simon stared at Jake for an instant and smiled. We're friends, aren't we? Then Dave and Sam came up, with Sean between them. Paul was behind them. Sean's left leg, elbow, shoulder, chin, and cheekbone were all scraped up. Sean, are you all right? Looks worse than it feels, I think, although it doesn't feel so good either. What happened? Colossal wipeout. Was it a root? Asked Sam. Nope. Rock? Asked Paul. No. Foot? Asked Jake. Nope. Branch, said Simon. Negative, dudes. It happened way back by the pond. I slipped on some gooey duck guck and took a major dive. Gross. Awesome. Whoa. But he didn't quit, said Dave. Took all that scuffing and still came in at 54. Well done, Sean. The whole team crowded in to pat Sean on the back. Ouch, he bellowed. Ouch, ouch, ouch. Sorry, man. Sean looked at Paul and Sam and Jake. And how'd you guys do? Or doo-doo, maybe, offered Simon. Jake winced. Not the jokes. He hadn't even had a chance to introduce Simon to the guys yet. The rest of the boys laughed. 29, said Paul. Solid. 5th, said Sam. Sean's eyebrows shot up. Nice. He turned to Jake. You? Jake wasn't sure what to do. The superhero pose didn't feel right this time. Before he could say anything, someone else did. Numero uno, piped up Simon. My friend Jake here was the first one across the line. Everyone stood silently for a moment, and then they all cheered wildly. No way, shouted Paul. Awesome, said Sam, nodding. My man, echoed Sean. Leaving him in that diamond dust, said Paul. Dave laughed. That was quite some finish, Jake. What was that all about? I was just running. Yeah? I had somewhere to go. And it seemed the fastest way to get there? I guess so. Well, buddy, I'd say you definitely got there. They all grinned ridiculously. There were high fives all around, even for Simon. Sit for a bit, Sean, advised Dave. Then we'll get you cleaned up. We're just waiting for Tony to come in. Dave jogged off toward the finish line. Paul ran over to the score sheets plastered to the fence. Sam explained how it worked. Because it was a team event, all the runners' results counted toward the total. The team with the lowest total score would win. Paul jogged back, waving a napkin excitedly in his hand. Guys, he panted, I think we have a shot at top 3. Look, I wrote the numbers down. The guys from Fletcher, they're the ones in yellow, are all in. 4, 22, 23, 67, and 71. Sam added the numbers in his head. That's 187 points. Whoa, how did you do that? Asked Sean. What do we have? 89 so far. But wait, said Paul. Red, that's the Bulldogs. They look good too. They have runners at 2, 10, 17, and 62. 91, whispered Sam. And we both have one more runner coming in. What does it mean? Asked the others. It means it's going to be close. Tony! They all rushed over to the tape. Wait for me, hollered Sean, hobbling along behind them. I don't want to miss this. Runners were finishing in groups of 2 and 3, racing each other through the trough. The display board read 75 as a runner in a black jersey crossed the line. white, purple. Where was Tony? There! A group of 5 had turned into the trough. 2 green shirts, a red shirt, a silver, and a blue. Come on, Tony, they all yelled. Come on! 5 runners hurtled through the trough, legs flying, arms pumping. Red was ahead, then green, now blue. Come on, Tony! Face flushed, he pushed across the line. The board flashed. 81. Would it be enough? The Diamond team surrounded Tony at the finish and clapped him on the back. Paul, called Sam, go find out how that Bulldog runner finished. They waited anxiously as Paul scurried off toward the sheets. Runners were still finishing, but yellow was all in. 4, 22, 23, 67, 71. Silver, all in. 1, 5, 29, 54, 81. Red. What about red? 2, 10, 17, 62, and what? We got 1 and 5, said Sean. That's got to be enough to take their 2 and 10, don't you think? I don't know, replied Sam. 78, yelled Paul, coming across the field. He came in at 78. Everyone looked at Sam. 2, 10, 17, 62, 78. Guys, we did it! A loud cheer went up from the circle of boys in silver shirts. Sam grinned, Paul jumped, Sean whooped, Tony grabbed Jake's wrist and pulled Jake's arm up with it. I can't believe it, shouted Sam. Top 3. Yellow has 187, we have 170, red has 169. We got second place. Jake froze. Second? He hated second. He thought he was done being second. No way. He had finished first. Jake pulled his arm down. Just then Dave jogged over. Unbelievable. Do you guys know? We know. Second place, hollered Paul. Sam figured it out for us. Dave laughed. He winked at Sam. Unbelievable, he said again. Well done, boys. Well done. I need to talk to you about a few things. And I think there's some hardware coming your way. But first, I want you to do a bit of a cool down. Sean, you come with me to the first aid tent. The rest of you guys take an easy jog away from the course. Meet you by our tent in, say, 20 minutes. Jake jogged away toward the lake. He figured no one else would head that way, and he wanted to be by himself. He faced into the wind, and he tried to clear his head. His chest felt tight, and he had a hard lump in his throat. The team had missed first place by 1 point. 1. If any one of those guys had run just a little bit faster and passed one more runner, they could have tied for first or had it all on their own. He was the only one who couldn't have done that. There was no one left for him to pass. Yet everyone seemed so happy. Didn't the rest of these guys want to win? Jake remembered Dave's pre-race pep talk about doing their best. Their best did not seem good enough. Maybe they didn't want it enough. What happened to winning will take care of itself? Sure, Dave. As he stood in the cold wind, Jake thought about all the times Dave had popped up along the course, offering advice, encouraging him to give his all. He knew Dave had done that for all 5 of them. He thought about Sam running hard to the finish. He thought about Paul starting out way too fast but then pulling it back and running smart. He thought about Sean crashing but not quitting. He thought about Tony powering his way through the pressure at the end. He thought about the way he had felt running today, and he knew something then. They had given it their all. They had run a good race. It wasn't first, but it was their best. And maybe that was okay. Simon came up behind him. Jake? Yeah? You okay? Yeah. The rest of the guys are waiting for you. Okay. I'm coming. He paused. It occurred to him that Simon had given his all too, in more ways than one. Jake turned. Simon? Yeah? Thanks for making the trip out here. It's cool, and I'm not talking temperature. I like running. Jake smiled. Me too. The boys walked up just as the convener began calling out the names of the top 3 teams. Dave met them at the tent. Hustle now, Jake. Go join your team. Jake moved in quietly beside Sam. For a moment, he held on to the silver medal the big man in red jacket handed him. Then he took a deep breath and slipped it over his head. It felt good. They took down the tent, picked up their water bottles, said goodbye to Simon, who had to go meet up with his mom, and piled into Dave's van. Hey guys, look at this, called Sean. He lifted a box from the front seat. Ben's Bakery, it said in big letters on the top, and inside were a dozen donuts. Awesome! Ben is the best! Jake had not eaten a donut in ages. They were not part of his regular, carefully regimented, results-oriented diet. He took a chocolate glazed. It was delicious. Hey, Jake, said Sean, your friend Simon is a riot. You know what he said when I came back from the first aid tent looking like a mummy? He said, well, looks like he got things all wrapped up. Ha! Yeah, agreed Paul. He's got a joke for all occasions. Bring him again. Jake smiled. They all settled sleepily into their seats. Hey, Dave, asked Sam as they pulled out onto the highway, his mouth half full of donut. Wasn't there something you wanted to talk about? Oh, right. Dave smiled. He glanced in the rear-view mirror. Just a small item of information I wanted to pass on. The winners here today, they get to go on to the provincials. Oh, mumbled Tony. Good for those Bulldogs. The race is next Saturday. Well, guess they'll be working hard all week, said Paul. It's up north this year, about 5 hours from here, continued Dave. It'll be a whole weekend away. It got very quiet in the van. Jake closed his eyes. He would have loved to be going to that provincial race. Oh well. He tried to erase the disappointment from his face, but when he opened his eyes again, he saw the same look on the faces of all 4 of his friends. Finally, Sam piped up. Sounds like fun. Yeah, said Sean. Up north, huh? Better bring their woolies. Dave cleared his throat. The top 2 teams qualify. They all sat bolt upright in their seats. What? Dave dropped all the boys off at home. He told them he'd get them the information about the provincial race as soon as he had it. When they got inside, Jake found his parents having coffee at the kitchen table. How'd it go, Jake? Well, he grinned and showed them the silver medal. They grinned back. Fabulous, said his mother. How'd it feel? Asked his dad. Good. Jake sat down with them. It was a good run. He looked up from the medal. There's another race coming this week, the championship run for the City League. It's Tuesday, if you want to come. I'd like that, said his dad. I'll be there. He looked over at Jake's mom, and she nodded. Listen, Jake, you've been working so hard and doing so well. We'd like to give you something. We were thinking you could use a new pair of shoes. Really? Jake thought for a moment. You know what? I kind of like mine. I finally got them worn in just right. But I have another idea. How about pizza? At Slice. All 4 of us. Tonight? You're on. Jake smiled. He figured he'd wait until then to share his news about the provincials. Jake took a shower and then slept for an hour. Just before they left for the restaurant, he got a call from Dave. Listen, Jake, I don't want you to come to Monday's practice. What? Why not? You got that championship race on Tuesday. You focus on that. Oh, okay. But what about the provincials? Let's not talk about that yet. I should know all I need to know by Tuesday. Do some light runs maybe, lots of stretching. Stay out of the line of fire of any crazy dogs, okay? Or ducks, I guess. Jake? Good job today. Thanks. Jake hung up the phone slowly. Exactly what was it Dave would know by Tuesday? Maybe he only needed a team of 4. And since Jake was the 5th runner to join the team, something felt a little funny. Jake decided to hold off telling his family about the run on Saturday until he had spoken with Dave again.